Overall, we do know that Deandre Ayton has had a solid career, but for a number one pick overall, you would kind of hope that he had the opportunity to play like a number one overall pick. And not to say that he's drastically underachieved, but for somebody that was taken over Luka Doncic, you would hope that he would take another step forward. And I believe that on the Trailblazers, he's finally going to have that opportunity. Thanks for tuning into the video. As always, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Make sure to like the video so that the algorithm knows to push the content out to more viewers. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this one. Now, Deandre Ayton is coming off of a season where he played in 67 games, averaged 18, 10, and 1.7. So he's been a solid overall player, consistently averaging a double-double every season. But the thing that I found most interesting about the Suns is they never really let him operate on his own very often. He didn't really have that many opportunities to take advantage of, though when it came down to it, especially in the playoffs, you saw certain times when there would be a switch or he might end up with a smaller player on him that he should be able to, in theory, take advantage of simply because of his size. And he was never given the opportunity or given the ball to actually either take advantage of it or be proven that he was incapable of doing so. I found that to be very interesting, particularly during their championship run when they did finally make the finals for the first time in the Devin Booker Chris Paul era. And now that Chris Paul is gone, Devin Booker is going to go for it with Kevin Durant. And we thought that Deandre Ayton was going to have a redemption season this year, but it seems like he will now, but with a slight twist to it. Now, he will be playing alongside Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson this upcoming season, which makes things a little bit more interesting. The slightly confusing fit will come from the fact that he'll play better in my eyes when he plays on the court with Anthony Simons with the ball in his hands, because he's more of the pull-up three-point shooter that Damian Lillard was. When you think of Scoot Henderson, he's a very downhill player, get to the rim. And when you think of pick and rolls that Deandre Ayton is typically liable to do, he doesn't necessarily play particularly well when it's alongside somebody that he's setting a screen for who would prefer to drive downhill. Now, if it's somebody that likes to take mid-range jumpers or likes to take three-pointers, it's a lot more effective because he doesn't end up finding himself tripping over his feet and getting in the way of them. Not to say that that's going to happen every time, but it might be a little bit more of an interesting fit when Scoot has the ball in his hands as a primary ball handler. I think that having Anthony Simons receiving screens from Deandre Ayton might be the more preferable out of the two options, but that's not to say that he won't be able to work well with both of them on the court at the same time, obviously. I would like to see for the Trailblazers to give him the opportunity to cook on his own, not a tremendous amount of back-to-basket attempts or just putting the ball in his hands and letting him ISO for a possession, but maybe 2 to 4-ish more times per game, I think would give us a better look for who he is as a player, because obviously coming out of college, people thought that he was going to be the second coming of David Robinson, and it's looking like more recently that's only because of his size and frame, because he certainly doesn't play like it. Now, part of it also comes down to him not having the opportunity to play for it, because the Suns drafted him obviously at the number one, but they never really gave him number one treatment because it was Devin Booker's team. So he was forever relegated to the number two, and then he just kind of slipped down the priority list. And you had Mikal Bridges, who was shooting significantly better from the floor and just became a more preferred option than him on the offensive side of the ball. That being said, he was able to clean up the rim, get some lob targets, and just work a little bit better around the rim. Now, considering that his percentage last season was 58.9, though he did average his most points up from 17.2 the previous season, though it was not a career high, which came during his second season in the league, as a matter of fact, his percentage-wise has stabilized roughly close to 60%. Now, the 2 seasons previous, he averaged 62 and 63% from the floor, so he did take a slight dip, but it's likely that he'll have the opportunity to make up for that this upcoming season. I myself, for one, am very interested to see what he can do, and considering that the expectations are kind of non-existent for the Trailblazers, at the very least this first year when they have Scoot Henderson just kind of figuring things out and molding a system around him as their franchise cornerstone alongside Anthony Simons, I believe that Deandre Ayton is a better fit for those two players than what they had going on before with their roster. That being said, only time will tell, and I look forward to what comes. But with that being said, go ahead and like the video so that the algorithm knows to push it out to more viewers. Go ahead and comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe, turn on those post notifications, and join. Without any further ado, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you are on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning into this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.